My Annoying Neighbor, Part 4, a Miraculous Ladybug Fanfiction. If you have not heard the previous 3 parts of this story, you can find a link to them in the description box below. If you haven't already, subscribe to stay up to date on the latest parts of your favorite story. Adrien laid on his couch, staring at the ceiling. It felt like he did that a lot recently. Marinette, as usual, was on his mind, and his heart wouldn't stop breaking. Wasn't a heart supposed to break once? Because each night he felt it crack a bit more. The pain was fresh and new and cruel to him every time he thought about it. He shouldn't be hung up on this girl like this. He had no claim to her, and this kind of pain was for breakups from relationships that lasted months, if not years. Not crushes on the girl next door. He'd accidentally seen her 3 times in the 2 weeks since the ice cream incident. Once when he looked like a gremlin to get the mail, and twice in the elevator on their way back home. They gave each other standard greetings each time, but the space between them was strained, almost breaking with the weight of the silence between them. Thinking it over, he was in the wrong for what happened. Some people may call it romantic, but at the end of the day, he stalked her social media, crashed her date, and trespassed on her personal space when she had clearly disinvited him from her evening plans. He messed up any potential of romance. "It's ironic," he said to the empty room. "In the end, I was the annoying neighbor." He rolled over, angry with himself. He shouldn't be this heartbroken. They had 1 date. 1 and a half. 1.5 dates. If he could take a nap to try to sleep it off again, he would, but he'd been doing too much of that recently. Cold water hit his face and Adrien sat up, stunned, and wiped shards of ice off as he looked for the culprit.
"Get up, loser. We're going shopping."
Plag? He was surprised to see his manager there.
"You look like crap. Go get changed."
"I'd rather not."
"Too bad."
He reached out and pulled a cushion out from under Adrien, twisting his body and allowing gravity to slam him to the floor.
"You have 5 minutes. Go. And don't forget to brush your teeth."
Adrien begrudgingly stood up and made his way to the bathroom, admitting to himself that he looked like a disheveled mess. He grabbed the shaving cream and went to work, sighing in disappointment that he let himself go like this. Over a girl, no less.
"What happened this time?"
Plag asked, hovering in the bathroom doorway.
"I invaded a girl's privacy after she turned me down in hopes of winning her over for a second chance." "Wow, that's even for you. You blew it."
"Totally. I mean, I didn't know until the end of the night that she canceled, but I let Nathaniel talk me into cornering her anyway."
"She canceled that night?"
"That's what her roommate told me, at least. She may have wanted to tell me earlier, but Alia didn't send the message. We've both been out of town at opposite times this week, and she doesn't have my number, so..."
"Ah, young love.
You sound like a geezer."
"Let's go."
Plag threw him a clean shirt. "Thanks."
"Did you really try to crash a girl's evening plans after she canceled on you?"
"It seemed romantic at the time, but I realize now that I would be more than upset if the same thing happened to me."
"Yeah, it's kind of amazing how it's so unlike you and just like you at the same time."
"How so?"
"It's unlike you to force yourself on someone and rudely intrude, but it's totally like you to try to make a grand romantic gesture." I guess I've learned my lesson. No more grand gestures. Then you haven't learned your lesson. What do you mean? From what I gather, it's not the gesture she minded. It's the breaking of boundaries. Touché. Let's go.
Adrien sighed and followed Plag out, somehow feeling better than his usual state from the last 2 weeks. There's nothing like someone being direct to get a person back on their feet. So, where exactly are we going? He asked as a taxi pulled up.
When's the last time you ate? We'll start with food.
Mall food?
Don't be picky.
So we're going to the mall.
Fasten your seatbelt and be quiet.
He did as Plag instructed and soon found himself in front of the design studio. That's right. His father was back in town. As much as Plag was his friend, he still worked for his father. At least he made sure Adrien was presentable first. What about food? He asked. Meeting his father on an empty stomach was a bad idea.
He won't be attending this meeting. You need to vet a designer by yourself today.
Wait, really?
Yes,
Plag said, stepping out of the taxi.
Off you go.
You aren't coming in with me?
I'm going to get food for when you're done. There's nothing like buying cheese on the company budget.
Adrien rolled his eyes and made his way in, smiling at the other employees and feeling somewhat better about the routine that didn't require a personal life. He didn't realize it was almost 3 in the afternoon until his phone chimed, ringing with a reminder to interview the Mrs. Marinette Dupin Chang. Marinette. His heartstrings tugged as he tried to calm himself down. It was only the first name of a crush that, well, crushed him. It meant nothing to him. It was just a name. He was fine. Except he wasn't fine. When Adrien stepped into the conference room, he found himself face to face with his neighbor, who looked just as surprised as he was to see him. Hi, Marinette said.
Hi,
he responded. She was here. What should he do? Handshake. That's right. First you shake their hand, then you invite them to sit down. I didn't realize you were in charge of, she began, returning his handshake before sitting down. Collaborations.
Yeah. Ever since I launched my products in the Aggress line, I've had a bit of say in decisions like this.
Your own products? Like designs?
Yeah.
They were in small talk territory now. What have you made? Perhaps I've seen it.
The red dress, for starters.
She went quiet as he shuffled the paperwork to get started. He didn't mean to use that tone, but part of him acted out of spite. He shouldn't be bitter about her ditching their date for someone else, but he was. In simpler words, Adrien was salty. Salty. Huh. Adrien tied back a smile at the thought. It had been a while since he was salty over a girl.
So,
he continued,
you designed on Broadway?
Yes,
The fashion industry is different than costumes. You know that, right?
He watched as she covered up a stunned expression with a smile. Yes, but I'm all...
And that the designs must work for every size we offer.
Of course. She pursed her lips, straightening her posture and leaning forward before continuing. I understand.
You understand? Understand what?
that this is the end of my interview. Thank you for your time, and good riddance. Marinette stood up and made her way to the door.
Good riddance?
You heard me. Her sudden change in attitude took Adrien by surprise and flooded him with shame. She was right. Again. His actions were improper.
Wait,
he said softly. She reached for the door handle. He couldn't tell if Marinette was either ignoring him completely or simply hadn't heard him, but he cleared his throat and tried again.
Wait.
Yes? She turned around to hold his gaze. The fierceness in her eyes scared him a bit, but he pressed on.
Sorry,
What could he say?
I was,
having a power trip? Adrien's pride flared against him a second time, and he slowly exhaled, trying to keep himself calm.
I was going to say unprofessional.
Go on.
Can I take you out for dinner? Again?
The question tumbled out without warning. Her surprised face matched his, and for a moment time stopped. No, Marinette said, her voice a bit softer. I don't want anything to do with a guy who crosses boundaries, both professionally and personally. She didn't slam the door behind her, but the shutting sound echoed the end of an era to Adrien's ears. He messed up. Again. And he didn't see a way to fix it this time. Thank you so much for listening. Part 5 is on its way. In the meantime, you can check out these other videos for more fan fiction. I'll catch you next time.